one thing we know, and you're totally right, is that it's not going to go according to plan, right? It's not going to go according to plan. There's going to be somebody who was undrafted who's really good and sticks around and has a real career. There's going to be somebody that's been drafted that's being banked on that's going to fall on their fucking face and they're going to stink. And then there's going to be the undrafted player that, for whatever reason, outperforms the drafted player. That always happens as well. So why don't we make our predictions right now? Who is, if you got to go with one huge, give me one huge hit, give me one huge miss, give me one bold prediction.
Hit as in who's going to hit from this draft class? Who's
Yeah,
going to
it
miss?
doesn't have to be from the draft class. It could be from just anybody they've added this offseason, either draft, undrafted free agent, or veteran free agent. Give me a hit this offseason, give me a miss, and give me a bold prediction.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy for me to just say I think Michael Williams is going to be a hit. I just think his foundation in his power and his run defense, he's going to contribute from day one. I'm well on the record in being a big proponent of his game and what he's going to develop, and the fact that like there's a lot of work that he can and will have to do to improve as a pass rusher, but he's working with a pretty good group. He's going to get to learn from Nick Bosa. I think that's going to be a hit. Um, Whiffs are tough because I never want to put it on any rookie that he's just going to be a whiff.
But you know what's
I
going to
like
happen. There's going to be some pick that, man, they had high hopes. I mean, just
also,
look at their draft history. I mean,
yeah, I mean
it's
it's tough.
screaming with
Connor
misses.
Colby, I'll say Connor Colby as, but it's a seventh rounder, which doesn't even feel like a take. But if you want to whiff, I wasn't impressed with his tape. I think there's athleticism there, but I just want more. I want him to be meaner. I want him to drive. So if I had to guess a whiff, I'll say him. And then you wanted what? One more hot take?
Yeah, give me a bold prediction. Either somebody that you really like, or something that that just something bold.
I guess it's not bold to say that their run defense is going to be monumentally improved. But I do think so. Teams ran the ball almost 55% of the time between the tackles against the 49ers last year. I'm going to say that number is going to drop to like the low 40s. That's not a sexy bold prediction, but it will be telling by the end of the year that you can't just try and run duo against them straight up the middle and clear out their defensive tackles and go after the linebackers. I'm going to say Alfred Collins and CJ West really help them there, and Michael Williams too is setting an edge. And teams have to try and bounce it outside a little bit more instead of trying to run again straight up the middle. So I'm going to say going from almost the highest rate in the NFL of teams running it up the gut against the 49ers, they're going to be like middle of the pack at best, because teams are just going to realize it's not a viable option with somebody of that size and of that force in the run game.
I'll say my big winner is going to be CJ West. I think CJ West is going to be outstanding. I think he's going to be strong. I think you're going to be a plug and play starter. I think he's going to help right away. So I like CJ West. I'm going to say the big miss is probably going to be Alfred Collins. That's just a guess, and I have no sources, but I'm concerned about just the fact that he's not healthy, and I'm concerned about his lack of health going forward. That's a concern. When I saw him, my first thought was, you know what, this guy's got huge long levers. It's going to help him. His long arms are going to help him. His long legs are going to hurt him. And
Yeah.
I'll stick with that. I'll say Collins winds up being very disappointing. West winds up being hugely satisfying. And as far as bold predictions, I'll say this. I'll make a couple bold predictions. Isaiah Nayer will outperform Junior Bergen. Corey Kiner will outperform James Jordan or Jordan James. And my other bold prediction is either Connor Colby or Drew Moss will wind up starting at left guard for Ben Bartch. I know there's Spencer Burford in the mix there too, but my guess is Connor Colby or Drew Moss, who both looked pretty good, I thought, yesterday at practice.
Moss, they don't have pads on.
They don't have pads on, but I was just looking for, like, I liked, to me, Drew Moss looked an awful lot like Jarrett Kingston the year before, as far as he looks kind of like a power lifter. He looks a little bit more athletic than just a blob. There's a lot of blob offensive linemen, and Kingston carried a lot of weight in the upper body. He looked like a big power lifter. Well, Moss, you can kind of tell, he's got some athleticism to him. He's a big kid who's pretty athletic.
I'm excited to see him. He can move, and he's got a really strong upper half.
Yeah, he's impressive. So I'll say either Moss or Colby wind up starting. Kiner is better than James, and Nayer is better than Bergen. We'll see. And I'll say Collins is the bust and West is the star. Wide receiver wise, couple before we say goodbye here. Wide receiver wise, do the Niners have too many receivers, and they need they need to pare that thing down, or do the Niners have not enough receivers? I bring this up because John Feliciano the other day saw that Gabe Davis got cut, was like, oh, he'd be the perfect fit for the Niners. I saw lists of guys who were going to be traded after the draft, and there's a bunch of receivers on there, including Romeo Doubs, who I've always loved going back to Nevada. I just think that the 49ers, you could look at their list and go, Ayuk, Pearsall, Jennings, Robinson, Watkins, Cowing, Gage, Tariq Owens, Trent Taylor, Hodgins, Nayer, Bergen. That's a lot of guys. You got 12 receivers there. You're probably only going to keep 5, 6. So Ayuk is, I don't know what you can get out of Ayuk. Just say he's hurt. Debo's gone. So you got Pearsall, he's 1. JJ is 2. Demarcus Robinson's 3, but he's not going to be there for the first month probably.
Right. First 3 games, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Watkins is 4. Then maybe Cowing would be 5. Trent Taylor, Gage, and Tariq Owens are not NFL, so I'd put those guys aside. But then you got Isaiah Hodgins would be 6 for me. Isaiah Nayer would be 7. Junior Bergen would be 8. I mean, you got 8 guys right there that are, I think, legit. I mean, I think Hodgins is NFL legit. Nayer is definitely a freak. Bergen is a return guy who to listen to the special teams coach talk about Bergen, I would say it's almost a lock that he makes the roster.
He said he wants to be a Hall of Famer. He said, his goal is to make the Hall of Fame.
We'll see. I mean, that's a pretty lofty goal. But how do you feel about receiver? I mean, Gabe Davis had a 200-yard playoff game against Kansas City, and he's only 26. He's not old. I don't know if he's the answer, but he is a big-bodied ex-receiver that can make plays down the field. How do you feel about this receiving core? Do you feel great? Do you feel good?
No,
do you
don't
feel like
great about it?
Would you like one more guy? I could see them even trading a guy. Like if you told me that Jacob Cowing got dealt in August for a different receiver,
I'm going to give up anything for Jacob Cowing.
Well, I'm just saying I could see the Niners flipping a young receiver for another young receiver. I'm not saying that they would get anybody a star. I'm just saying,
I just don't
let's just say you think Jacob Cowing is not going to make your team. Jordan Watkins is going to be your vertical threat. All right. Maybe there's a team out there that wants a speed guy and is willing to trade you a bigger bodied guy. I don't know, but it seems to me that receiver wise, it's intriguing because there's a lot of names there.
It's a pretty
but then if you go through it, you realize that there's not. It's like a cotton candy thing. It's like not a lot there, Yeah,
I listen. I think if you have a group where it's Pearsall, Jennings, The problem is Robinson not being there makes it really tricky. So like day one, is it Pearsall Jennings, and then you're keeping Cowing because he's been around, but you don't really want to play Cowing, so it's Watkins. That would worry me. I like Pearsall a lot. I like Jennings a lot, but like having a rookie, unproven fourth rounder who's like, again, he produced at Ole Miss. I liked his tape, but like that's not what I want to start the season with. Um, that would worry me. I do think bringing in another veteran, bringing in Demarcus Robinson, where it's like he's the guy you need while Ayuk recovers, and then he's not available for the first 3 games of the season is insane. Like I liked what Demarcus Robinson has done the last few years, but like, how do you not do your due diligence there and know that that's going to be a problem? I do think I don't necessarily know that Gabe Davis actually is the greatest fit for the Niners, but they could certainly use a proven NFL receiver who's got speed and has performed in playoff games. So again, is he an elite scheme fit for them? I don't know if it matters. I do think they need probably one more proven guy because you talk about once you get to like Watkins after him, it's like we're talking about Bergen and Russell Gage. It's not great. It's not great. So I wonder if that's the late summer move or if that's something where in training camp quickly or after OTAs they say this group's not going to cut it and we're going to need to bring somebody in.